Hi, I'm Avery Davidson.
And I'm Kristen Oakes White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
It is no secret that Louisiana has some of the best food. People from around the world travel here to experience our culture and cuisine. We also love an excuse to get together with our friends and family to pass a good time.
We sure do. So it's no surprise that a Louisiana chef and a South Carolina hog farmer would join forces for a boucherie. This week, our own Carl Wiggers brings home the bacon from the Fete des Bouchers, our festival of the butchers, at the historic White Oak Plantation.
An open fire, a freshly butchered pig, and around 60 of the best cooks and butchers from across the country.
You better cover that stew.
Add to that some Cajun culture and you have the recipe for a good time. Here at White Oak Plantation in the heart of Baton Rouge, you find Chef John Folse sharing something very near and dear to his own heart: Louisiana history.
That's what a plantation like this is all about, is to bring someone into an environment to say, oh, so this is where it all began in Louisiana.
There was a time a boucherie like this was a common event in rural communities across the South. However, this treasured pastime to many is now just becoming a thing of the past.
I think there's probably nothing more important today in the world we live in, the speed of the world we live in, that we stop for a moment and just recognize that all of our past is just not only gone, but the little that's there is fading fast.
Folse is doing his part to preserve the tradition by hosting the second annual Fete des Bouchers. He explains why the combination of this old tradition and the Louisiana culture is drawing a crowd from across the country.
They're here because Louisiana is kind of ground zero for great food, great hospitality, great traditions. We care about families. We care about all of this. And they want to come out and find wine, bring it back to their homes.
The chef's plantation makes for a perfect setting for this event, but he doesn't do it alone. This boucherie would not be possible without the farmer that raised this pig. The relationship between the history-loving chef and a South Carolina hog farmer, Tank Jackson, makes this pair a match made in hog heaven.
Chef Folse is one of my heroes, and we've become great friends. And he and I are partnering on several different aspects of cultural preservation.
This boucherie is the result of their hard work in preserving the culture of the South. But for Tank, that hard work has quite a sweet payoff.
The flavor is so deep and strong, and it's just something for the palate's amazing. So my favorite part about the trip's the food.
Be that crispy with the meat and everything on them. I never tasted one like that in my life.
Louis Ponville of Thibodaux could not stop talking about the hog cracklings made by Jerry Bourgeois and Dennis and Bonnie Snyder.
I'll tell you what, you ain't never tasted nothing better.
But the flavor of the fried pork belly was second only to the hospitality of those behind each table of treats.
People are friendly. They invite you every time you pass by one of the tables. They invite you over to get something to eat. People are real nice, and it's really enjoyable.
This combination of good food and friendly folks is the secret ingredient that makes this event so special. But if you ask Tank and Chef Folse, they say the most important element is the education behind the boucherie that makes them so proud.
Just getting people to be aware of where food comes from. You know, eliminate the plastic wrapper and paper bag from the situation.
This was the school for the future. Normally in Louisiana, 10 different families, the company of the boucherie, they call it Compagnie de Boucherie. 10 families, black, white, Spanish, French, it didn't matter. They all came together because they were the community, and they came with their children. The grandmothers were there, the aunts, the uncles. And what we're doing here today is really trying to not only recreate that, but recreate it in such an authentic way that people realize that this must be preserved.
I can smell these sizzling already.
Chef John Folse hopes to do more of these events in the future, but he also wants the knowledge gained here to be part of the preservation of this timeless tradition. He says that participants can do that by hosting their own boucherie or by simply passing down the stories and recipes learned at this year's events. And you guys, that package can show the sounds and the sights, but it will never be able to get the smells and the tastes through the TV.
You know, that's one of the times where I do wish we had smell-o-vision because, you know, sometimes you don't want it, that story. I wanted to smell those cracklings.
Absolutely.
Now, you're from North Louisiana. You're from North Louisiana. This is really your first big experience with a boucherie. I've been to my fair share in St. Martinville. Tell me a little bit about what you saw, what you learned, what did you think?
Well, it was really neat. It reminded me of a family reunion that we have every year. But what was neat to learn was the way that they would chop up and butcher the pigs and use big tubs, big barrels of fat to preserve the meat, the cuts that they would prepare. And it sounds terrible, but I'm sure back in those days it was absolutely a necessity. But oh my gosh, the food, y'all, was just worth going to any boucherie you can ever get invited to.
Fat carries the flavor, and oh, it tastes so good. Thank you very much, Carl Wigger.